Hi everyone, and welcome to Southbridge Community Television, 4 Minutes or Less with Max Gullickson. And today I have with me Jack Jovan. Hi Jack, thanks for coming
Max,
on.
how are you? Welcome. Thank you.
Jack and I go way back. Jack and I had our kids in Trinity Catholic at the same time, so we've been in town together for a while, back in the days of Miss Casey and learning excellence.
Absolutely, yep. And we go back to the school committee with you as our able-bodied keeper of the minutes and
That's
everything.
right. For 3 years or so, we were together a lot of long nights at the school committee.
A lot of long nights, a lot of long nights.
Folks, Jack now is involved. He's the chairman of the Southbridge, what is it, the firehouse, the fire station building committee.
Fire station building committee, yes,
Now,
sir.
there you are off another committee to improve the community, Jack.
Absolutely. I mean, I love community service. I've been doing it a long time, you know, even in my public career as a police chief and firefighter. So long, you know, I enjoy public service. So this was just a need that I saw and stepped up to the plate.
Not every town has a full-service fire department. Some of them are on-call, and it's kind of sketchy, the service you might get. What constitutes a full-service fire department?
Well, our department is staffed 24/7, as we like to say, 24/7, with a full complement of firefighters and paramedics and EMTs that you know respond to calls 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
In town of Southbridge, you're covered all the time.
All the time.
At Christmas Day, there's somebody there to
holidays, storms, blizzards. They're the front line along with the police department as public servants.
Sure. Now, a fire station building committee. That indicates the idea here that there's issues with our current firehouse. Now, our current firehouse, the beautiful building on Elm Street. Now, I know I've seen, anybody who walks around town has seen one of those beautiful devices they have trying to back into that bay for that. I mean, there's inches on either side, but these guys managed to squeeze it in there. So what are the issues that we're facing with our current firehouse?
Well, actually, this is a second iteration of the Fire Station Building Committee. There was one set up many years ago, going back to Chief Lenny Laporte, that there was a need for the fire station to look at the project to bring it up to a 21st century, facility. And that committee kind of went by the wayside for a number of years. We had different priorities. The DPW building took up a lot of time and resources of the town. The school building project took up a lot of time. So this, essentially, the fire station was the last really public building that we needed to address and in the inventory of public buildings in the town.
Everybody in town has a new, the police have a beautiful new building, a firehouse. We got a 19th century building and a 21st century force over there.
Absolutely, and we have to remember that the fire station is not just the building where we house fire trucks. It's also the home for the firefighters. They live in there, they eat in there, they train in the building, and the facility is just inadequate for today's standards.
I've been in the building. I guess I'd describe it as quaint, but big.
It's a beautiful old historic building, but there definitely is a need, especially with the safety of firefighters. There's new thoughts on cancer awareness, and that's a big push that's going forward to eliminate any toxins or anything. And we have guys that are pulling fire trucks that come from a fire scene right next door to a kitchen.
Oh, sure.
The laundry facilities, they're antiquated. The shower facilities. So it really is time for a new building.
Yeah, I guess so. At some point, we're going to follow the lead of the firehouse or the police department and everyone else. Now, why this committee? I mean, you're the chairman of this committee. And you can't just go out and build a firehouse. You have to study it.
So the first step right now is we're in what's called feasibility study. We went out for bids for an architect. We selected the architect. We actually have a meeting tomorrow night with a kickoff meeting. That architect that we selected was actually the architect that designed and built the current police facility.
Okay.
So they're very familiar with the town of Southbridge and what our needs are, what the community's made up. So we're excited about kicking that off.
It seems like they did a good job over there. I mean, you don't hear any complaints. It's such a modern. I remember the old police station. It was an antiquated old brick building set.
Right, and we go back, and that's almost 20 years that it's been built. And it's funny, I was doing a tour in there with the police officers, and one of the newer police officers, well, not newer, but younger police officers said to these new guys that, hey, it's not much of a building, but it's our building. And I was like, well, wait a minute, you got to go back to what they used to be in.
Right.
So everything's relative. But
I guess so. I mean, the other one would really look like something right out of the Wild West.
Right. So our committee is formed. We've been meeting for the last 2 years, 2 years plus. We tried
2 years you've been at this now.
2 years we've been at it to try to find funding to get this feasibility study out the door. The feasibility study will tell us, look at the existing facility, what changes need to be done, or what a fire station should look like, 21st century building, and maybe locate some of the, or address the needs of the fire department, as well as address maybe some possible locations for a fire station.
Any locations that are potential in town of Southbridge right now?
We have identified some potential areas in town that we may look at, maybe areas that will need to have the town take under, that are already in our inventory of properties, or that we may have to secure
Sort of like
somehow.
eminent domain or something
Eminent
like
domain.
that, right?
And then also, like any project, you have to look at the existing facility, because the community will ask, did you look at the existing facility?
Yeah.
Can it be reused? So we will look at the existing facility and any of that area or around the
Like give a good
station.
shine on our current building and maybe have it right there on Elm Street where it's been. That's a possibility too.
It's a possibility.
Yeah.
That maybe something with the park that's next to it. Take some of that area there, and build a facility there. So, but everything's open to study.
Yeah.
So then that's really where we're at.
Jack, I mean, it's always a fiscally tight in the town. I mean, it's a common theme. But I mean, it may seem obvious, but what are some of the benefits of having this full service fire department serving the community? I mean, some of the obvious are going to put out the fire in your house, but
Well, yeah. So I mean, we are very fortunate to have the fire staff that we have in this community. They're dedicated to the town. The issues that the town of Southbridge faces every day, just with current issues, that I commend the town for stepping up to the plate with the opioid crisis. Our firefighters are the front line, and our police officers that are out there every day battling that.
they're saving
epidemic,
lives, aren't they?
Saving lives, and they're in and out of that station all the time. I mean, on average, we were talking about this the other day. On average, they have average of 10 calls per day, and one only has to look at going in and out of that facility, the door widths that they have.
Yeah. My
to
God,
be able to
they're
get in and out.
squeezing that thing, and I couldn't believe they got 2 guys it takes them to back that truck in there, and it takes time. I mean,
Yeah, and fire equipment is bigger.
Yeah.
I mean, parts of that building were designed for horse and buggies. So it really, I mean, it
come a long way.
served its purpose in the day.
Yeah, 120 years ago, right?
We have bigger fire apparatus.
Yeah.
We have more equipment. The equipment that guys have to, and women have to carry every day in and out of fires. It's just not conducive to 21st century.
The building served us well for a long time.
Yep. I think it looks at like when we looked at the building a new high school, middle school. Everybody was like, well, it was good enough for my kids, or good enough for them. It's good enough now, but the schools back then were not conducive to 21st century learning. The fire station is not.
Now we got this big, beautiful new school, and it is beautiful. There's no denying it. We
beautiful.
have it. It was a lot of effort. A lot of the time, it didn't seem like it was going to happen.
Yeah. So it did take a lot of work for us to get that project through, and with that,
I remember that.
we have to do the same thing with the fire station building committee. We have to study it, make sure we have the right plan, make sure it's fiscally responsible. We're not going to build a Taj Mahal.
Right.
We didn't build a Taj Mahal for a school.
Right.
It's what can the town afford, and what's practical and will benefit everybody in the community.
Right. We learned recently the close relationship that these people, the fire personnel, have with the hospital. When the tragic stabbing up there, we learned how much of a synergy there exists between our people and the nurses at that hospital and the doctors. And those people are close. I mean, they work hand in hand. We run ambulances up there all the time. They're out there responding to heart attacks and things like that. So they really are a vital part of a lot of people in this community, this fire department. And they're more than just firemen. They're more than just putting out fires.
Oh, absolutely, and that's the key component, because I think everybody can see them out on the street and they're doing a job, but what goes on behind it. And you know, I was a fireman, I was a cop for a long time, and public safety and public service is rewarding, but we have to give them a facility that they can train in,
Yeah.
that they can live in.
Yeah.
Because again, it's not a fire department that you come from home. It's a fire station where they live, eat,
Right. They
breathe.
spend 24-hour shifts in
Right,
that place.
and part of the project that we will look at is how we can use a new building to assist in training.
Yeah. So they can even
community events.
expand their role a little, or their abilities with the new building.
Right, I think because what you look at is you send firefighters out for training. One of the concepts that we looked at with the architect is integrating training right into the building, where that group that's on
Save the
can
town a
train.
little money, right? If you do that,
You
They
could
do the training here.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the other thing is, the bigger the trucks get,
Yeah.
not being able to fit in the station, we have to get custom-made trucks.
Oh,
So they cost more money.
I see.
So-
I see. So if
so we
you've got
have
a
that.
modern firehouse built to, and they call these trucks devices, right, or apparatus.
Apparatus, yeah.
Yeah. So built for the current modern apparati.
Yep.
You're going to be better off that way. You get them out quicker. Probably, seconds matter, minutes matter when somebody's having heart failure.
Oh,
Absolutely. I mean, and they can all. I mean, they're nurses, sort of almost, and they can administer to somebody in the back of a moving vehicle. So I don't know. A lot of nurses
Yeah.
can't do that, but
Right.
But so they're important to the town, and it's important. It's important work to find a building for like you said, the last major department in the town to get refitted and modernized.
Right. So I mean, this is not just something that is a whim to look at. I mean,
Yeah.
the town had put forward a study of all public buildings.
Yeah.
And that was one of the
Like the
fire station
preeminent
and
need kind of thing?
Yeah, the fire
Yeah.
station and the dog pound were the two biggest needs in the
Yeah.
town.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it really is time that we address the firehouse and make sure that we have the right facility for the safety and benefit of our employees.
Good. So as you said, as chairman of the committee, you said that the next major step then is to get the architect on board and give you an actual design of a building that will fit our community. And so that's step next. And then after that, you move toward a potential new building in town.
Right. So the first step is this is the farthest we've ever been with this whole
Yeah, we've
fire
made the
station
effort
building
before, but we
throughout
haven't
the
moved it
years.
along this far.
So this will get us to a conceptual design phase, identification of potential areas, and have it prepared that it's going to have to go to a vote to the people of town and the residents of the town. So that's why this study is very important to define what our next steps is, to give us a cost estimate of what what it will be, and then we will work with the town side, finance people, the town manager, and the town council
Figure out
to
how.
bring a plan that's fiscally responsible. And again, we talked about it earlier. It's hard in towns when it comes to the fiscal
Sure.
issues that
There's a lot
we
of
all
pressure
face.
there. Yeah.
And we have every department's trying to vie for the little dollars that we have. So that's why we have to have the
Going to find
best project.
a very fiscally prudent way to do it.
Right, absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. Now, best case scenario, Jack, or a reasonable scenario. How long before they're breaking ground? I mean, if everything goes right, and there's no guarantee that it will.
Yep.
But if it does, and we find a place, and how long do you think before the town could break ground?
Well, if everything,
Say a year?
Yeah, if everything went the right way,
Yeah.
then a year would be
Maybe a year
be
from
great.
now? Maybe
That-
next in 2019 at some point?
Yep, and that would all be. I mean, our plan. We had a very aggressive schedule that we set up for the study. The study is going to go 90 days, roughly. So the kickoff meeting, like I said, is going to be tomorrow night, the 15th, and we'll have a better sense of where we're going. And they will meet with the firefighters. They will meet with other stakeholders to identify the needs.
Get them all on board.
Right, and then look at potential areas. Again, the existing site or their mission or their charge that we gave them was to identify at least 2 locations outside of the existing. So it's the existing location and 2 other locations in
That's
town.
where they're pushing. If they find 2, then we can talk about which is best.
Right. So it'll be a total of 3: the existing firehouse
2 more.
area footprint, and then 2 more in town.
In town, yeah.
Yeah, somewhere in town. And again, we have to look at response times because that's
Yeah,
important.
this
so,
is pretty central.
Yes.
I mean, it kinda is, right?
And a lot of people are pushing for us to do something with this site and
Yeah.
this area, which is fine.
Yeah.
It comes down to cost and it comes
Yeah.
down to
You'll have a better
other-
feel for that a little further down the road, whether or not this is the best one with all those factors, the cost, the needs of our guys, I shouldn't say guys, needs of our personnel over there in the firehouse.
Right.
And that'll all be factored in.
Absolutely. Yep.
How many members on your board?
There are 7 of us.
7
and,
members on the board.
I thank them all for working
Yeah.
hard on this project.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been a long time coming, and we're excited.
Yeah, you describing it reminds me a lot of the discussion around the school building. And that didn't seem like it was ever going to happen until it did.
And that
until they were breaking ground. I
Right.
mean, and it happened. And now we got the beautiful school.
Right, and my goal when I went over to there as formerly being the chair of the school committee when we built that building and being on the school building committee,
Yeah.
I tried to bring the sense of what the process was in the school building project and model that process after that.
Take that experience and just use it right here with
Right,
this one.
to make sure that we had the right stakeholders on board, the town side, we have the building commission side, the building department side. We've had tremendous, and I can't thank Matt Desjardins from the DPW, I think that's his name, assistant
Desjardins,
engineer. He was instrumental in getting this proposal through, so I thank the DPW. He wasn't technically on our board, but fantastic support
pitched in with their
they
knowledge.
came to the table and they helped us, and I
Yeah.
can't thank them enough.
Oh, good.
It was
Good. It's
great.
a caring town.
It is. I mean,
Yeah.
if we all work together,
Yeah.
we can make this town a even better town, because it is a
Who
great
saw
town.
those times when they do?
I mean, I've lived in this town all my life.
Yeah.
Graduated from Southbridge High School.
Yeah, sure. I've known
And that's why you work hard to. It's your community, and if you want your community to succeed, you have to be part of it, and that's what we want to be.
That's
So,
terrific. Jack, thanks for coming on. I mean, this was 4 minutes or less, folks, but as you can tell, it went a little longer because Jack's so interesting. And we've got great information. Now, I think you brought everybody up to speed on where it is now, and the next major step is when you're going to have that architect on board to give us very definitive ideas about what. So maybe later on, once he's been on board and maybe some renderings or so, maybe you can come back on and give us another update on this very interesting town project that you're involved
I
with.
would love to come back. I'll bring anybody that I can with me.
Yeah.
And I really do thank you, Cable Access, because they are instrumental in any project. I mean, when we did the school building project, we did a lot of community outreach through Cable Access.
Yeah.
And I had a program of my own, like you, Max.
Oh,
and
I remember.
Maybe you watched so that you
I
could get
did,
tips.
yeah. Chairman's Chat. It was
Chairman
wonderful.
Chats.
Yeah.
And, I would bring the town manager in and other stakeholders for
Yeah.
that project. And
Yeah.
because it's important for us to be transparent and for
I
us
think
to
so.
get this information out. So I'll be back anytime.
Yeah.
And I thank you.
Jack, our people in Southbridge, they just love to hear this stuff. They want to hear from you, and they want to hear about these great projects. And Jack, thanks for coming on my show. I
Max,
really
thank you.
appreciate it. Good to see you again. I've seen you around. We've been
Oh,
together.
yeah.
We've hung out at the Bunny and looked
yeah.
at the spoon roast and whether or not we're going to buy it and so forth like
Yep,
that.
yep.
But folks, thanks for watching. We've had Jack Jovan, who is the chairman of the Fire Station Building Committee, and a lot of interesting doings potentially coming right here in the town. And we're going to check back with him a little further down the road as this process moves towards its successful conclusion. Thanks for watching right here on Southbridge Community Television. Thanks for checking in. Thanks again, Jack. Great to talk to you.
Thank you, Matt.
Yeah, we'll see you back there when we have more information.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't quite 4 minutes.
What did it go? Like 8?
No, probably about 15.